financial problems, elder law, tax problems, business matters, divorce, personal injury, bankruptcy, your life, your reality. Life is complicated. There is the law and there is reality. Welcome to Law and Reality, sponsored by Thav Gross. Now here's your host, Ken Gross.
Welcome to this segment of Law and Reality. Today's segment, the topic is make your plan to be debt-free. Now, I know this isn't a new topic for Law and Reality, but I want to take a little bit of a different twist on it. I want to look at what the current debt situation is in the U.S., and then I want to bring it from a macro standpoint, bringing it home to the household. Jenny Lingle, it's nice to have you back in the studio again.
Good morning.
The studio, which is my office now.
Yes, it's nice to be in your office for a show, for a change.
Rather than battling out on some tax issue that we do on a day-to-day basis.
Yes.
And Brian Small, good morning.
Good morning, Ken. Wonderful to be here, as always. And this is a very interesting set. I like it. I love what we've done with the windows over here.
Yeah, did you notice I painted the Law and Reality logo onto the window?
You are extraordinarily talented. Who knew? I thought you got stuck back with crayons and the little scissors.
If you paint very carefully, it would actually look like a graphic. That's what I learned.
Because I thought that you failed cutting and pasting in kindergarten.
I was good by paint by number.
Okay.
Anyway, from nerdwallet.com.
Nerd
You'd be
Wallet.
surprised some of the great websites I've found over the years that we've been doing this. This happens to be an excellent website, nerdwallet.com, for credit card debt and information and analysis. And so I was looking at it because I wanted to find out what the current debt situation was as of and they were current as of August of 2015. U.S. household consumer debt. The average credit card debt per household is $15,706. That's if the house has any credit card debt, the average amount is $15,706.
That's an amazing number because, again, that's the average. That means that to get there, there's a whole bunch of people that have an extraordinarily higher amount of credit card debt.
Every household that has $5,000 of credit card debt,
20,
somebody's
30,
got
25 plus.
Yeah, and
It's
every
amazing.
household that has $2,000 of credit card debt, you're going to have someone who has $30,000 of credit card debt.
It's mind-boggling.
So there's a lot out there. The average mortgage debt, by comparison, is $156,333. But if you think about that, you have a house when you have a mortgage.
And also remember, your
It's 10 times the greater amount of debt, but 10 times zero on credit card debt is zero.
right. But when you look at your house and your mortgage, remember that mortgage payments are spread out over 30 years, and that's how they're capitalized. Versus a credit card debt.
I'll disagree with you.
A
credit card debt is spread out through your entire
No,
life.
I was going to say the credit card debt appears to be smaller, but it never goes away.
It never goes
because
away.
of the credit card trap.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with you. We'll talk about the trap in a minute. Average student loan debt, $32,953. So twice the amount of credit card debt. At least on the student loan, in fairness to it, although because we talk about it's a massive problem, at least you have an education, hopefully, to stand behind the debt that you have on student loans.
Or you went to truck
on a
driving
house,
school.
on a mortgage, you have a house. On credit card debt, maybe you have things. Maybe you have some toys in your house, but for the most part, you don't have anything. In total, American consumers owe $11.85 trillion in debt, which is an increase of 1.7% from last year, primarily in auto debt and in household debt, in mortgage debt, not in credit card debt. There's $890.9 billion in credit card debt, $8.17 trillion in mortgages, $1.2 trillion in student loans, which is also an increase of 7%.
And it's not going down. The student loan debt is the next catastrophic nightmare
It's
that
going
is
up.
going to hit the United States. It's going to take another 10 years before Congress gets around to fixing the problem.
Now,
but
just
it's a mess.
Now, to put it in perspective, on a comparison from March of 2010 to December of 2012, where do we stand on revolving debt? And actually, in December of 2012, we were down to $849 billion from $906. We also, even though we increased the number of households by about 3 million, average credit card debt per household was 7,117. That's including those houses that don't have any credit card debt.
That's out of
versus
119 million households.
Correct. Percentages of households with a credit card balance, 46.7% of the households, of that 119 million households, have some credit card debt. Average credit card debt per household in March of 2010 was actually $17,630. In December 2012, $15,257. So it's down a bit. Now, the question there is
headed the other direction now as we start to look at the statistics.
If you look at a chart in 2006, it was 16,651. It went to 17,628 in 2007. It then started going down with the recession to a low in 2011 of 15,206, and now it's crept back up, or it's creeping back up to 15,523, and the numbers that we just gave you with respect to 2015
now, here,
August.
the question about
so it's going back up.
Yeah, but the question about that debt is it responsible debt now, or is it subprime lending that's starting to push it back up? Because my opinion, my feel, and
What's your gut from being in the office? And Jenny, you see this too as well.
My gut is that subprime lending is starting to pick back up.
When you say subprime lending, you're not talking about mortgage lending.
I'm
talking about subprime
credit cards, where you're seeing credit cards being issued at 18 to 24% as the normal interest rate, rather than the default interest rate if you end up in trouble.
Oh, I think that there's a lot of truth to that. The credit card companies are making a lot of offers in that range. The average credit card interest rate is still right around 14.27%, I believe. I check that every month on creditcard.com always publishes the average rate.
I can remember a time, let's just go back 3-4 years ago, where I didn't get any credit card applications in the mail at all.
And
now I get
5 a week.
3 to 6 a week.
I would say into my household, which would include my daughter's wife and myself, I would say there's an average of 2 offers per day.
Now,
and you know what? They're usually from the same company.
And
Citi,
let's
Discover, and Capital One. Constant.
Let's give our viewers a good suggestion, though. If you are receiving these, you don't want them, and you shouldn't take them. Shred them. Do not just throw them away.
It's a big burden, too. You have to. I go through this process every day. I take them to my desk. I slide them open. I throw out the junk pieces that don't have any information or data about you, but the one that has your name and has your coupon code number, you got to shred that.
It is such a pain.
It is. It's
with
ridiculous.
how many that you get every day, like you said. We're wasting a lot of paper here.
Yeah, and here's the big thing to know. If you stick too much paper at one time into the shredder,
your shredder will jam.
Your shredder will jam, and that then is a half-hour problem, trying to get it out without ruining your fingers. And then, if you're the guy in the house, inevitably, all those little pieces go flying around onto the couch, and that becomes a problem. We'll take a break. We'll be back.
Tax problems are major problems. Don't let the IRS levy your wages and seize your assets. There is a solution.
Worth Ave Gross. Our firm will solve your problem.
If you're behind on your taxes and owe money to the IRS, call Thav Gross.
We've been solving tax problems for 32 years. We stop wage levies, resolve unfiled returns, and obtain the best possible settlements.
Call Thav Gross today, 888-235-HELP.
A lifetime of hard work. If you're approaching retirement and don't have the right plan in place, you can lose your home, your investments, and your savings. And you didn't come this far to lose everything. Putting a solid strategy in place with Samasco Law legally protects your assets as well as your wishes. Since a will doesn't cover you medically or financially, Samasco Law goes beyond ordinary asset management protection to safeguard everything you have.
How much can you afford to lose? Call Samasco Law today.
Carrying too much debt? Resolve your debt. Call Thav Gross.
You don't need to be broke, and you don't need to hit rock bottom. If you have income and you're struggling with debt, dump it. Think about the next 10 or 20 years. If you do what the banks tell you, you'll have nothing to retire with. There is a solution.
Don't waste your future. Call Fav Gross. We're experts at eliminating credit card debt. 888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP.
Welcome back. All right. So we laid out the scene.
I didn't know I'd left.
With credit card debt. Good point, Brian. Every now and then you do have a good point, and there's one of the best ones that I can remember in the last 6-7 months.
It's because Einstein's not here today.
Yeah, he's off on another soccer tournament for a big surprise.
I was in charge of comic relief today.
There you go. Will credit card debt continue to rise? That's
yes.
I think the big question.
I guarantee it. You don't even have to. We don't have to read articles. We don't have to read anything. I mean, we can talk about it, but the reality is history repeats itself. People are continuing as they start to feel more comfortable with the economy, as the government continues to tell us the economy is in better shape. People will believe that and spend. And when they spending money that they don't have.
Let me nuance that with two additional factors as I see it. Number one is the banking industry is completely dependent upon credit card debt being out there because it's so profitable to them. That's why you see the easing of credit. They're making these offers. They want that 32% interest if somebody's going to pay it to them. They need that 32% interest, if you remember A Few Good Men. I want you on that line. It's the whole thing is that's going to continue. And the other factor of which this commentator said on nerd.com was he said, with wages not going up that greatly, as people start feeling better about the times, and they also want more things again because they've deprived themselves for a sustained period of time through the recession, the only way to get them, if your wages haven't gone up, is to increase your consumer credit card debt. So people will start getting into that situation of increasing the amount of the credit card debt as a result of wanting things and their wage growth isn't supporting it. So we're going to see it return. Now what I want to do is I want to just kind of lay out graphically what the consequences of credit card debt are to you, and I want to do it in a way of illustrating the average household with that $15,523 of credit card debt, and then I want to compare it to someone who has 3 times the average. Suppose someone has $46,569 of credit card debt, which is
not an enormous amount of money that I see every day. I mean, I see debt like that every day.
If average is $15,000, for every 3 families that only have $1,000, you're going to have 3 families that have. You're going to have one family that has $46,000.
See, here's the thing that I see, and this is where, if we can get our viewers to understand, if you've got $15,500 worth of credit card debt, you can do something about it. If you have $46,000 worth of credit card debt, you can do something about it. The problem is what most people do when they hit 15 is now they're starting to get another credit card so they can pay a credit card.
Rob Peter to pay Paul.
Yeah, but rob Peter to pay Paul, write check balance transfer checks and move money around, and at the end of the day, 15 goes to 46 really fast.
Absolutely, and it goes also right with the credit card trap. As soon as you're at the point, it doesn't matter if you're at $15,000 or $45,000 of credit card debt. If you're in this situation, that all of your disposable income at the end of the month is going to pay the credit cards, and you're not putting any money away in savings, then in that situation you're in the credit card trap. And even if you're paying more than the minimum payments, you're using all of your available cash to put down on the cards. When you need to buy something, you then have to charge it because you don't have any cash in the bank. The credit card balances never go down. Now let me lay out, I want to go through the numbers.
One thing before you go through the numbers.
Okay.
If you're proactive and address your situation when your credit card debt is only 15 versus 46, I assure you that there are more options and opportunities to eliminate the debt, many of which exist without hurting your credit score. When you get to $46,000 worth of credit card debt, you're quite often below the sand. You're already in the quicksand. You sunk, and we're going to have to take more aggressive plans to deal with your debt.
I cringe a little bit when you make it. People have this misconception that the credit score is more important than getting rid of the debt, and it's the complete opposite. The credit score is important if you're going to buy a house, It has a factor on how much you pay for insurance, but it's a short-term problem that can be resolved. The financial industry wants you to believe that if your credit score dips 100 points, it's going to take you 20 years to fix it. And that's a lie. It's not bending the truth.
More like
it's
two.
a lie.
More like 2 years to fix it.
Yeah, 2 years max. And if you miss one payment, it's not going to be the end of the world. People are brainwashed on the issue. All right, let me start to give you the numbers. If you're looking on the screen, you've got one column that's the household with $15,523 in debt. The other one's got $46,529. Your minimum payment's at 2.5%. On the average household, it's $388 a month. On the 46,000 household, it's $1,164. Take that times 12 months, you got $4,600 on the one side, $13,700 on the other per year. You gross that up because you have to pay taxes on the money you earn to net the money that you pay to the credit card companies. So if you're either making $6,208 a year of your gross income going to pay that average credit card debt of $15,523, or you have to make $18,264 a year to pay on the $46,000. That's paying 2.5% on the average monthly balance, which is your normal minimum payment. Here's the bottom line. Your gross income needed, $6,200 a year at $15,523 of credit card debt. If you saved that money instead at 6% interest over 10 years, you'd have $84,781. And if you saved it for 20 years, you'd have $239,000 in savings. Flip it over to the $46,000 credit card household that's using $18,000 of their gross income. If you could put that money away tax deferred at 6% a year, in 10 years you have $249,426. In 20 years you have $703,229. The whole point is, for both families, the average family of $15,523 with credit card debt, or the one that's got $46,000, you have the keys in your hand to have good savings in 20 years if you get rid of the debt.
And let's give it some real practical applications here. $18,264 if you have $46,000 worth of credit card debt is what it costs you a year. If you took that same $18,624 to understand what you can do with it, you can just put it all in your 401k. It's less than what you're allowed to contribute on the maximum for annually right now, and you will turn that money into a tax-deferred $703,000.
Absolutely.
So it's not some magic little formula that just you have to figure out how to do the investing.
You got to figure out one thing.
What's that
What
one
is
thing?
it?
How to get rid of the debt?
How to get rid of the credit card debt. And that's what we're going to figure out. We've figured it out, and we're going to help you figure it out when we come back from the break.
If you're retired and in a financial crisis, there is a way out.
It pains me when I see a retired couple exhaust their savings by paying credit card bills and for a home hopelessly underwater.
Fav Gross specializes in helping retired people in financial crisis.
You just can't keep paying until you're broke. You need to address the problem now.
888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP.
We're Fav Gross. Our firm will solve your problem.
A lifetime of hard work. If you don't have the right plan in place, you can lose your home, your savings, and more. And you didn't come this far to lose everything. Samasco Law wants you to know that laws are changing. Today, the average cost of nursing home care is $85,000 a year. With proper planning, we can help protect your life savings and get you the Medicaid nursing home benefits you deserve.
How much can you afford to lose? Call Samasco Law today.
Tax problems are major problems. Don't let the IRS levy your wages and seize your assets. There is a solution.
We're Fav Gross. Our firm will solve your problem.
If you're behind on your taxes and owe money to the IRS, call Fav Gross.
We've been solving tax problems for 32 years. We stop wage levies, resolve unfiled returns, and obtain the best possible settlements.
Call Fav Gross today, 888-235-HELP. It's devastating, the effects of debt and foreclosure on you and your family. There is a solution.
We're Fav Gross. Our firm will solve your problem. Some fear the word bankruptcy. but in reality, it's a strategy to save your home and to eliminate debt. If you're in financial trouble, timing is critical. You need to take action now. We've been saving homes and eliminating debt for over 33 years.
Call Fav Gross 888-235-HELP.
Welcome back. Before we go into how to eliminate the credit card debt, let me run through announcements. Wednesday, October 14th, 6:30 to 8 p.m., back by popular demand, we're going to redo the Crossing 60, the Important Decisions You Need to Make seminar. That ran in, I think, the first week of August. Jim Simasco, yourself, and Brian and myself made the presentation dealing with Social Security, how to make decisions as to when you should take the money, 62, 66, 70, issues on divorce, issues on if you're widowed. There's a lot of issues on Social Security that people never realize. The whole thing is, all of a sudden you turn 60 and you go, oh my God, I don't know anything about these issues. Including among that is, if you're 60 and your parents are alive, they're looking at the potential of nursing home issues, and you need to plan for that. And the simple reason is this. Medicaid allows you to keep $2,000 cash, and all the rest of the money, if you have to go into a nursing home, goes to the nursing home. If you plan for Medicaid planning, Medicaid can pay the cost of the nursing home, and if both parents are alive, you can plan in a way where where all of their assets are preserved. If only one is alive and it's and you can't beat the 5-year rule, you can still save half of the money. But the whole point is, you need to plan. People that don't plan end up seeing their life savings go to the nursing home, and that care is $9,000 to $12,000 a month. So it's a big issue. That seminar is October 14th, 6:30 to 8 p.m. Pat Simasco or Jim Simasco, Brian and I will be presenting. Sign up at lawandreality.com. Wednesday, November 4th, 6:30 to 8 p.m. We're going to do a financial seminar. It's about debt, not your credit score, dealing with all the issues such as those that we're talking about today. Bankruptcy, when is it right, when is it not? How do you get rid of debt outside of bankruptcy? Debt resolution, house problems, tax problems. We cover all of that. Sign up at lawandreality.com. You can always call 888-235-HELP. I also want to thank our sponsors, Stav Gross and Simasco Law. All right, back to the credit card debt, Brian. All right, so
Methods to eliminate
how
debt.
do we eliminate it? Bankruptcy?
Well, you could magically, wave a magic wand and it's gone, right?
I wish you could do that. Although if we could do that, then I would continue my practice of business law, and we would not have a reason for you to be around every day for me to talk to.
Magically
or you'd
make
have
a
to do
pile
something
of
else.
money, yeah.
Yeah.
No.
Or you'd be the magic wand.
Yeah, there we go. How do you eliminate credit
I
card
do call
debt?
you the wizard of bankruptcy.
You do. So you got some simple methods. You've got Chapter 7, you've got Chapter 13, and you've got debt resolution. Those
I
are.
think Joe liked my comment about not having you around.
Yeah, I heard him. You can be replaced, Joe. Anyway, Chapter 7. Let's talk about that first. That's debt elimination.
Jenny liked it
bankruptcy.
too, but she's holding it in.
So can you.
Sorry, go ahead.
Chapter 7, debt elimination bankruptcy. Wipe out your debts and get a fresh start. This is the traditional form of bankruptcy that exists that people are most familiar with, and it's income contingent. In other words, you have to be making a certain amount of income or less in order to qualify for Chapter 7 bankruptcy. Your household expenses cannot exceed your income, and then there's a test called the means test that we apply on top of it. Should you pass both tests,
Then you can do
you
a
can
Chapter 7.
qualify for a Chapter
and then
7.
you just wipe out the
Wipe
debt.
them out,
It's
right.
gone in 6 months, you're done.
Yeah, once every 8 years.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, so if 7 doesn't work, what's next?
Chapter 13, we look at that. Chapter 13, structured reorganization over time, where you repay some or all of your creditors some or all of the money you owe them over 3 to 5 years. In order to do this, we look at the budget and we see what's left over. If there's something left over, but not enough to pay everybody what they want, then what we do is we take that something and we force the creditors to accept it. We utilize that. We don't ask them. We shove it down their throat, to be quite honest. And that gets approved by the court, and the creditors get as
Pennies
little
on
as,
the dollar.
as little as 0 cents on the dollar, which is highly amusing to me because when they changed the law in 2005, it was supposed to make the creditors get more, and it turned out it makes them get less.
It's nice to see something go wrong for the banking industry,
Absolutely.
or the banking lobby. On Chapter 13, you also have that collateral benefit that if you're underwater on your house to the extent that your first mortgage exceeds the market value of your house,
Lien
you can
stripping.
lien strip your second mortgage and
Absolutely.
get rid of it.
That's eliminating the second mortgage, turning it into a general unsecured debt, paying as little as 0 cents on the dollar, and at the end of your Chapter 13 plan, you don't owe a second mortgage. Now, what happens if none of those work?
All right, yeah, I want to set the stage because we got 2 minutes left, basically. 7, you make too much money for a 7, and you actually make too much money for a Chapter 13 because
Right.
in a Chapter 13, let's suppose you had $30,000 of credit card debt, and and it turned out that you had to pay $800 a month to your credit
Right.
card companies. You wouldn't want to do that.
No,
You'd pay
I
them
mean,
in full.
It certainly would allow
What do
you
we
to pay
do?
them in full, but if you're going to hurt your credit and do something to get yourself out of debt, you might as well pay as little as humanly possible.
And how do you do it? What is debt? Tell me
Debt
about debt
resolution.
resolution because you only got a minute and
Debt
20
resolution
seconds.
is
And then I'm going to give you
negotiating.
an extra 30 seconds.
Cool. It's
My next
negotiating and settling debt for pennies on the dollar through fighting with the credit card companies, negotiating with the credit card companies. It's an art form. It's not a science. Every credit card company is different. Every credit card is different.
And it's what we do. We charge 8.5% amount of the debt. We settle the debt over a period between 18 and 24 months, not longer than that. And we average out, get rid of the debt between 35 and 40%, including all costs and attorney fees.
Yeah,
Is
that's
that a
about
fair
right.
statement?
Yeah.
Now, it's different than these things you see, debt settlement that you see on TV. Ours is debt resolution. In that situation, if you get sued, we defend the case.
Right, which is all those companies, 1-800-SAVE-MY-BUTT. There's no attorney
throw
there.
you to the wolves.
In page 35 of their contract, it says in 4-point font, by the way, if you get sued, go find a lawyer.
Yeah, we actually have 12-point font, and it's only a page and a half agreement.
And
because it's
we are
a
lawyers.
simple process. The goal is success. The goal isn't to fleece the client out of their money. And to be honest, those debt settlement companies are designed to rip you off. They don't work.
And our fees, actually, to tell the audience, are about half of what those companies charge. And we include representation in the lawsuit.
We got 1 minute left. Jenny, I wanted to, because the topic was getting rid of debt, and I wanted to also have a tax problem to go through. We didn't get to it, so we will do on our next show, we will do a tax problem and let you shine in terms of offer and compromise, Chapter 7 bankruptcy to get rid of tax debt. There's a lot of things there. But the important message to get out of this is go back to the chart. Don't sacrifice your future retirement by spending 25 years of paying interest on credit card debt. If you do that, you'll have nothing to retire with, and that will be a fatal mistake at the end of the day.
Yes, it will.
It's not about your credit score. The banking industry wants you to believe that. It's about saving money for retirement.
It's about being selfish. It's
Have a
about
great
you.
week.